Hi,
Hi. Um, I can't
how?
turn on my video camera.
No problem. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Did you have,
Я сейчас прям сюда. Сейчас оформлю.
I tried to use another camera.
and it did not work.
Here you are. Take it.
No problem.
Okay. Парам. Yeah. Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. My boyfriend fixed it.
Very good. Thank
Yay.
you. Spasiba.
Тебе спасибо, говорю.
Yay.
Yay. Oh, hello. We have. Well, hello, Elena. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I worked in the office today.
Mm.
I met my colleagues and I feel energetic after it. Sometimes, yes, it is useful to visit office and to chat with colleagues, to drink a cup of coffee at the kitchen and discuss some gossips.
Yeah, exactly. Just chat and talk. So you've had a good week?
You mean previous week?
Yes, the week that has just finished, because we have not spoken for 1 week. So did you have a good week?
I'm not sure. It was a quite busy week. I had a lot of tasks.
Yes, it is a busy week for me as well. So I was thinking that maybe we could change the format of the speaking club, but I wanted to speak with you and, well, the other students who may come later. I wanted to speak about, maybe I would like to do, I post every week a short story, 500 words. You take the week, you read, and in Speaking Club, we speak about the story and like, oh, it reminded me of this, it made me think of that. Instead of doing just topics like, oh, today we talk about food. We always do the same topics.
Yes, it sounds great.
So I thought it might be interesting. Right? And at the same time, if there are words that are new for you, you can, talk about them at Speaking Club, like, oh, what is this word? So it's a different way of learning, but I think it would be fun.
Yes, I share this idea.
Oh, good. So starting next week, after our lesson today, I will go find a story and I will post, and we will discuss that story. That I think it's more interesting because everyone has the same, like, we all start from the same place. Instead of saying like, oh, let's talk about food. Food. We can talk about many things about food, All right, we can talk about agriculture, we can talk about cooking, we can talk about eating, we can talk about. But if we take a story, it's a good way to start. And it's interesting.
Mhm. Yeah, I understand. And
Okay.
but in general, I like speaking because it helps me to develop my skill.
Mhm.
And comparing with IELTS speaking, you know, this strict format. I
Yeah.
hate this format, and I usually puzzled with it, and I can't think what I should say and how I should answer to the question. But in this simple speaking without any rules, I feel more freedom, and I can practice it.
Yeah, I agree. I personally don't like standard tests. We have them everywhere, but I don't like them. Which is a little bit why I was thinking, oh, if we start with a story, this can bring us many different places. And it practices as well our reading. But I don't want it to be like, oh, we will read a book. Right? It's a short story. and then we can develop differently and have language that we would use in real life with just our friends.
Yes, exactly. And we can listen short video on YouTube and discuss it as well.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. Hello, Sasha. Hello.
Oh, sorry.
No
I'm late
problem.
today.
It's okay. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm very good. We were discussing a little bit the format of our speaking club.
Mhm.
And I was making a suggestion that I could post a short story every week, and we would discuss it and then discuss other things.
Mhm.
And Alexandra was saying we could also watch YouTube videos together and discuss those, which is a great idea as well. So we would have different formats, one where we're reading a story, 500, 600 words. It has to be very short.
Mm.
And maybe we could watch videos that go with our story and just develop conversations.
Mm.
Hey, look, I have my tea.
Enjoy your tea.
It's tea time. So today I was thinking we could speak about children's stories and children's books just because I like them.
Mm.
Children's stories tend to be my favorite stories. Right. So I was wondering what you guys think of children's stories. Do you enjoy them? Are they too simple?
Mm. Maybe.
So Sasha or Elena, who wants to go first? What do you think of children's stories?
Then
Sasha, you have more experience in that. Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, it's true, Sasha, you have children.
Yes, of course. I I can reach experience with children because I have 3 children and I work with children, and it's very interesting because children are very unusual.
Imaginative.
Imagine.
Yeah, they have
Mm.
big imagination.
Yes, and it's very difficult to discuss about something for children because they understand another thing.
Mhm.
But it's sometimes it is very funny, and I smile when once sometimes some happening. For example, when my children go to the school, they discuss me about their school time and their school subjects and story with their friends. It is very funny.
Well, there are the stories that children tell, and then there are the stories we tell children,
Children
right?
tell me.
Like when we talk about children's stories, usually we're talking about like the stories that adults tell children, like Disney. Those are children's stories. They are stories for children.
Okay.
Whereas when children tell us a story, that's very different because it's new, it's personalized, it's their story. But Disney is everybody's story.
Of course, my children ask me about my childhood, and I talk about my my story when I was a child. When I was a child, I was very как бы, живой.
Shy?
Alive,
I like
one.
running. I like
Sportive.
climb
You were
trees.
Sportive or active?
Active person. And climb to the trees. And one day I was with my beautiful dress, and I climbed trees, and I
Ripped
my
like
my
a
dress. Yes.
Ripped. We will say like, and it even sounds like it, right? Like ripped.
And I was shocked, but my mom don't.
Your mom was not angry?
Was angry, but no, no huge.
C'est la vie.
She understands me. Maybe.
Stories of our childhood. They are very interesting. Elena, do you have a story about it of your childhood? Of a funny thing that happened to you? Or maybe a little scary?
In my childhood, I used to spend every summer in the countryside. in my grandmother's house with my cousins.
Mhm.
Yeah, with my cousins. And we had a lot of adventures. For example, we mm, thrive. I don't.
What's the word in Russian?
Воровали.
Verova. I don't know
Uh,
Verova. I know some Russian.
I
don't
know. I know. We stole. We stole the plumes in the garden.
Oh, bad children.
Yes. But it was funny.
Yes,
Mm,
yes. You know, when I was 9 years old, we were 4 girls who were always together. And there was Natalie, and me.
Oh,
And so there was like, we had little names, like one was all of her name, right? So it was like Nathalie Gravel, like her full name. And the other one was Nathalie, and the other one was Nat.
little net.
And we did so many crazy things. We had a train that passed by the house, very near the house, and we would run with the train, like, how can I go faster than the train? No, I was never able to go faster. But yeah, childhood is a special time, isn't it? In the countryside, we can do things we cannot do in the city, right?
yeah.
Like Alexandra, did you grow up in a city or in the countryside? In the countryside.
I also lived in a countryside where I was a child. And I also went to my grandmother in the village in the
Yeah, in the
summer.
village. Yeah. So that was like the dacha, the summer house, or did she live there all year?
I live in one village. It was a large village, and I went to my grandmother in another village.
Okay,
Small-
okay.
small village.
Smaller village.
Yes.
Yeah, I was raised in a large city. So for me, summer was go to the museum, go play at the park, go to the amusement park,
Mm.
because they were all very near.
Mhm.
But I did not build a house in the trees.
Mm.
I did not go fishing.
Mm.
Right? Like all these things that people do in the countryside, I went camping with my parents. Did you go camping as children?
Yes. In my school time, I went, not camping, it was like hiking, because we went to the mountains, and we visited different parts of Russia, like Caucasus, Ural, and the north of
Okay.
the Russia. And it was a really good experience for me, because we survived.
Survival. It's survival skills
Survival
development.
skill. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Because it was cold, I imagine, when you went,
cool.
because you were with school. So it was cold. Like,
It was cold, but we were dressed. No. We had a fire, and
Mhm.
we cooked on the fire. And
Yeah.
in the winter time, we used a special tent with a little
Okay.
oven, like not oven, but like this.
A little wood burner, right? A little thing that made a lot of heat.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we usually call it a wood burner or a coal burner, or but it's something burner, right? The idea is while it burns, it creates heat, so
yes.
you are not cold, right? It's a little bit like the samovar, right?
Mhm.
You will always have hot water if you have a samovar, and you put wood inside, which is wonderful technology. I love the samovar. We don't have this in Canada. And I remember I was thinking, why don't we have this? This is wonderful. Right.
And in the winter, um, you don't have heating, central heating in the winter.
We have electric heating, and every room has its own thermostat like this. Like, just a minute, I will show you. Right. So, oh, my thermostat in this room is very far. So I'll go to another room because they're in every room. So we have this
Mhm.
and this.
Battery.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is electric heat.
Mhm.
And we have this in every room of the house.
Special for Canada, yes.
No, the USA is like that. I don't know about Europe. I think Europe uses radiators with hot water.
Mhm.
We used to have big radiators, like I saw
Yes.
them in Kazakhstan, and I saw them in Moscow, but not a lot. But we used to have these, but in the 1950s, we developed hydroelectricity.
Mhm.
So because we do not burn anything, we transformed all of our houses. And so now it's just everywhere electric, even cooking. Even when I cook, I have an electric stove. I don't use gas.
Mhm.
I used gas when I was in Asia, but here I don't use gas.
Mhm.
Gas is better,
Yes.
seriously. But I would have to change my whole house to use gas,
Mhm.
and that's very expensive.
Mhm.
So we have heat, but not central heating.
Mhm.
People who have central heating, it's a lot of money, to
Mhm.
transform your whole house.
Mhm.
We
Expensive.
don't use it though.
Only rich people have central heating.
Yeah, pretty much. Only people who have the money to because it's expensive to put in, but it's less expensive to use.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So over time, it is more expensive for me than it is for them.
Mhm. Mhm.
But monthly, like my first payment is
Mhm.
much smaller. Like much smaller. But when I was in Kazakhstan, in Shymkent, they had the old Soviet system they were still using of the water, hot water that was in a central and it went all over the city.
Mhm.
Is it like that where you are, Sasha? Because you are in a smaller place. Is it like that where you are
Yes.
still? Yeah.
Yes, it's the same in a flat. And
Okay.
this, because we have a central heating,
Okay. Yeah.
heating, and but in the own houses we have another
System.
system. We use gas, but
Okay.
own system.
Yeah. These are There was one house-
Radiator. No,
so the gas
Kalonka,
Kalonka is
which
Oh,
hate
I have-
water.
radiator. Radiator.
Kalum, yeah, the kalum, which
Balloon, maybe balloon, gas balloon.
Or like a balloon.
special system which hate water, and we have several radiators for houses, and we get warm
Yeah, we get heat, right?
and
Uh,
heat and warm floor, warm floor,
Oh, you have it in the floor.
Mm.
warm floor.
Yeah.
In
That
the
is
kitchen, in the bathroom, toilet.
I want that. It's called in English, it's called radiant heat.
Radiant.
RADIANT.
We
Yes, I
right,
will put it in
right.
the chat. I will put it in the chat.
Chat, yes.
Okay. Radiant heat is underfloor heating. So your heat is going through under your floor and heating your whole space, and not just like mine heats there. If I am at the other end of the room, I will be cold.
Mm.
All right, because it's not even. It's uneven, very hot here, very cold here. What you have is the same everywhere.
No, we have in some place in the kitchen, bathroom, toilet,
Okay.
only there.
Okay, so in those rooms,
Yes, and the
okay,
other places we have the radiators.
you use the older system. Which do you like best? Which system do you prefer?
I like radiator head. When,
Really?
when our floor is warm, because it's very comfortable,
Ah,
especially in the winter.
yeah, yes. It was snowing for me this morning. Oh,
Yes.
it's snowing. Oh, you know, winter is coming, so it's normal. What kind of heating do you have where you are, Elena? Are you in a bigger city? Yes, right?
Yes, I live in Moscow.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
In apartment, and we have central heating
Okay.
everywhere, and we have in my house we have gas for cooking, but it is not typical for Moscow. Gas is only in old houses, and modern houses have electricity oven.
What I have.
Yes, like yours. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
And I like central heating because we have two seasons when autumn comes and when spring comes.
Mhm.
We have some period about 2 or 3 weeks when central heating doesn't
Is
work.
Yeah, it's not turned on.
Yes, it's not turned on, and I really understand. It's awful when the temperature in the room like the same than in the air.
Outside? Yes, yes.
And I heard that in Australia they don't have central heating, and Russians in Australia complicate in winter, in tropic winter. It's not like Russian winter,
Yeah,
but they feel cold.
yeah.
Because,
believe it.
Yes.
I believe it because you see here, that's why we have in every room, this room is at 20 degrees, the other room is at 22. And I decide when I turn it on, when I turn it off. It goes on when I say it goes on. I don't have to wait for the central to turn it on. And when I was living in Kazakhstan, I was in Shymkent. Shymkent is very near Uzbekistan. It's not cold. And yet, there was always 2 weeks in November and 2 weeks in March where it was like, oh, uncomfortable. Because they turned it on late and they turn it off early. And when I was in China, I was in a new building and all the floors were like Elena's kitchen. And I was like, yes, I love these floors because my feet were warm. I don't like the cold. Do you do a lot of sports in the wintertime? Because everyone in Canada who likes winter are people who ski, they play hockey, they skate, they do ice fishing, they're crazy people. My mom is one of
Active
them.
people.
My mom is like that. My mom lives by a lake and she makes a hole in the ice and she goes ice fishing and I know a lot of Russian people do have the same activity because same weather, right? So do you enjoy those activities? Elena, you said you were active as a child. Are you still active today?
Not in winter.
Not in winter.
Yes, absolutely not. I hate cold and winter, and in Moscow, usually there are not very snowy winters.
Yeah, not a lot. Yeah.
Not a lot of snow. Yes, and last winter were few really cold days, but I didn't want to go out these days. Yes, sometimes I like figure skating.
Yeah,
but it is maybe once in winter.
Yeah, just go skating and what about you, Alexandra? You were also active as a child. Are you still? And you have children now. Children make us more active because we have to do.
I live in the south part of our country, and we have warm winter. But sometimes we have a cold winter with snow. And then this time we go with my children go for a walk. Um, mm, we live in a town, and sometimes we go to the skating
Mhm.
because my children like skating,
Yeah,
green skating.
very
Um,
cool.
and sometimes we also we just go for the river
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, in my city, there are places where, well, very near my house, actually, I just go bring my skates and they put ice in the city. So for us to skate, and there are places to play hockey in the park. We can also do cross country skiing, not downhill, right? But just like with the ski, we can snowshoe. And all of this is in the city. I don't have to go to the countryside anymore. When I was a child, I had to go to the countryside. But now it's everywhere there is something. And I'm thinking Moscow is much bigger than my city. So you must have something like this in the city.
Yes, we have this artificial
Arena?
arena. Yes, rings.
Yeah,
for,
rings.
for
I-
skating. Yes, we have a lot, and sometimes there are really beautiful and wonderful. And my favorite one is on the Great Exhibition. You know, Sasha, VDNH.
No, I don't.
Okay, we have this place. It's called like exhibition, Great Exhibition, and the biggest arena is situated in this place,
Okay.
and it's decorated with lights and something like that. Christmas
Oh,
tree.
okay.
I like the atmosphere. Not figure skating, but the atmosphere.
The atmosphere, yeah.
Yeah.
And what is it called? It's not manege.
No, it's not manege. It's a exhibition of achievement,
Outdoor?
of industry achievement.
Oh, industrial achievement. Because
Yes.
I'm going to look for it right now.
I
Exhibition of
write in a
achievement.
chat.
Ah, good. Because then maybe if they have online, oh, I just found it at the same time. I just found it. And I was like, I think she's talking about this one. And then you put it in. I will look at it later. I'm always interested in these things. Because there's a lot of interesting things everywhere in the world, and it's difficult to see them all. Luckily, we have internet and cameras now, and we can see things that our great grandparents never saw because they just didn't have the technology. So we're really lucky for that. But just to get back to like stories for children, I don't know, I mean, apart from, oh, I forget, no, I don't know any Russian children's stories. I know a lot of European stories, right? Like The Little Mermaid or Snow White. Okay? They are, the whole world knows these stories. They are hundreds of years old, but there has to be some Russian ones. Do you have a favorite story from your childhood that was a Russian story, or was it Snow White like for me? Or
Yes, I have some stories, and in my childhood, I read fairy tales, Russian fairy tales, and there are some old films based on these fairy tales, like Morozko. It's about I don't know, about spirit of the winter, and
The Spirit of Winter.
yes, and it's this character helps good girl, and he destroys bad
Of course.
he hates bad behavior, yes, and punish bad girl.
It's a little bit like Santa Claus, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you are good, you get a gift. You are not good, you do not get a gift. Because there's Russian and European, well, Russia is European. The contact is very, very near, but at the same time, we don't know a lot of Russian stories, like stories that are Russian, like apart from Tolstoy or Dostoevsky, which are not for children. I would not tell a child to read Tolstoy. Tolstoy is a little complicated, and
we read this book in the school time.
I tried to read a translation of Tolstoy because I don't read Russian well at all, and what an amazing storyteller, but so much detail.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God. But I would not ask a child to read this, right? I might give a story about Snegurachka to a child. And that is something that when I was in Asia, it was the first time that Santa Claus, well, for me, Ded Moroz, right, had a daughter or a granddaughter. So where does that story come from? Like, has he always had a granddaughter?
It's very strange when daughter we don't see, but we see granddaughter.
It's because for us, the story of Santa Claus is a European story. It comes from Denmark, or It's 1,000 years old, and it was Saint Nicholas. But he never had a woman in his life. There was no wife, no mom, no grandma, no daughter, no granddaughter. And then I go to Kazakhstan, which has very strong Russian influence. And he has a granddaughter. What happened? When was she born?
You know, maybe I can guess, because this granddaughter Snegurочка came from the story of Ostrovsky. It's a Russian writer, and he wrote novels.
Right.
And he was the first who created this character Snegurочка. It was in the, I don't know, maybe at the end of the 19th century. And after that, this character became popular and famous. But before this novel, nobody didn't know about granddaughter. Yes.
Right. How interesting. It's the birth of a story is always interesting. And then when a character like Snegurочка all of a sudden becomes very important, and they just keep being alive every year she comes back and she changes and she gets older, and now she's his daughter and now she's his wife. And it was very fascinating for Catholic me to see Orthodox the way the story was told. It was very different. And I have access to this story from Canada. But it is not a story that I will see in a movie in Canada. It is not a story I will see in a book. But when I go to Asia, I will see my Santa Claus in a movie over there. So it's very difficult for people here to learn these stories because it is, yeah, that's right. And it's our stories that are everywhere. Right? So what's nice about that is that we all share some stories. Some stories are the same and we share them. And so if I talk about Snow White, everyone will understand who is Snow White, the seven dwarfs. So we all have a common point. But it's nice to hear other stories too. I write a lot, and I teach children how to write stories. A lot. That's what I do most of my time, is teach children how to write the stories they want to write. So stories are just something always, I am always in a story. Yeah.
Yes.
And yes, Sasha, go.
Yes, it's our history very different and our culture different, but in our fiction, we very famous when parents read books about Snegurочка. It's very simply and very natural for us.
Yeah.
And also our people play roles in some events in school time and in other places. We celebrate New Year, and there are a lot of people like
Dressed up.
try on these costumes and performs some and play some performance
Yeah, right.
for
Oh, yeah.
children, for other friends. It's very funny and it's very exciting.
Exciting. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. We don't have that. We only have movies. I like plays better than movies. But there used to be a tradition of marionettes, right? There used to be a strong tradition of marionettes. And now in Canada, I would say there is not anymore this tradition. Is it still alive in Russia, like for children to show marionette type stories with?
We use another thing.
A puppet. A puppet.
Yes, puppet theater for children.
Yeah.
It's very popular. And also some teacher in the kindergarten play different roles for different events. They organize some events for children, and these events, there are a lot of in the autumn, in the winter, in different seasons. Mom Day, Mother Day.
Yes, yes.
Also, we have we celebrate 8th March.
Yeah, the 8th of March, International Women's Day.
International, yes, and when children organize surprise for their mothers. They sing song and
they do a little play,
dancing. Yeah. It's very beautiful show.
That's very cool. March 8th for me is very political. It's all about professional work, equity. I want the same money as a man. I can do the same work. It's very political. Because I have Mother's Day in May. Right. And I have Valentine's Day in February. So 8th of March is it's all about politics. So there is no flower and no there's none of this.
Yes.
Which is too bad. I mean, I like flowers.
In Russia, we have this tendency to turn out the age of March into some feministic sense, but it
Mhm.
is we had strict traditions, congratulate women, and of course mostly it is a festive for flowers, for like these things,
Mhm.
but
It's very,
yes. Mm.
it's quite interesting because the Soviet Union was the first place in the world to give women the same rights as men. And then, of course, life kept going, and other places tried to do the same thing without the Soviet type politics. And today we look at it, and it's the same problem as we have in Russia, as it is in Canada, as it is. Women still do not have access or opportunity or pay. We are near, but we're not there. And this is even after 100 years of laws, international laws, laws in large countries like the Soviet Union. And so it's very interesting how human beings, we are very slow. We take our time,
Mhm.
you know, because you as a teacher, Alexandra, in Canada, we are having a problem is most teachers are women. There are very few men who are teachers. And do you find the same in your area? Is it mostly women or?
Yes, in our school and kindergarten, um, main people who work with children are women. In the school, sometimes we see teacher men, but it's
Mhm.
very seldom.
It's very rare, right?
Rare.
But when you go to high school, there are more men teachers, yes?
Yes.
And university, more men.
Maybe in which university?
It depends, right? Yeah.
In
Because
the
it's the same for us.
education, педагогическое, да, educational, we have there are a lot of women also.
It's the same for us, right? The younger the children, the more women.
Mhm.
And the older the children, the more men. But even in high school, there is still more women working than the men are often gym teacher, they are the PE teacher, they are the football coach,
Yes, yes.
or hockey coach, or
For business.
yeah, or business. That's true. Yeah, technology.
Or in the government.
So, and this is
Politics.
why we are. But what is strange is men like children. There are many men who like children. I mean, children
Yes.
are pretty cool. No, they're funny. They make us crazy, and you know, it just.
Mm.
And yet, very few men work with children. But now I work online with children. I don't work in class with children. And it's easier online.
you know, maybe this profession is not popular, and maybe it is not so well paid
Mhm.
in general, and
Yeah.
men are not stupid, and they choose more perspective professions like financial,
Yeah.
yes, and so on.
Yeah, that is where you see the difference between financial value or life value. What do you value? Do you value money or do you value life? Do you value the bank or do you value people? Do you value and men as a general rule, and here I know a lot of men who are not like this, but they are attracted by money because we give it power.
Mhm.
If we decided that teachers were powerful, we would have more men teaching.
I think man lack of patience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Work
Yeah,
with children.
my mom was a lot more patient than my dad.
They can play with children, go for a walk with children, but short time, I think.
Yeah.
Mm.
Look, children are very demanding, and this is why when we look at children's stories, there is always a moral or like we write the story with the idea that I want the child to learn sharing, or I want the child to learn like Snegurechka, right? Be a good girl, you will get this. Be a bad girl, you will have punishment. Right?
Mhm.
So when we think of stories for children, there is almost always a moral. The story is
Yes.
never just to entertain. Whereas when we look at stories for adults, they most of the time are just to entertain. So isn't that strange that we make these types of stories so different? Why I'm an adult and I love reading stories that are for children. They are my favorite stories. They are the most fun. But there's always a moral.
I think today we have different tendency for teenager, and our fiction changed nowadays because today uh, there are a lot of teenagers like gadgets and movie and don't like reading, and that books need became more interesting and dynamic.
Yeah,
active,
dynamic.
active when some things became more quickly, change quickly. It's very interesting for teenagers.
Yeah.
Also, today teenagers like read about their the same people, the same boys and girls, and some problems, psychological problem, I think.
Yeah, a lot of anxiety, a lot are living, are very anxious,
Yes.
which I did not have as a child. But I did not have all this video and all this information and all this, right? So yes, you are right. There is a big change that happened in the way we receive stories.
Mhm.
And it's difficult now to sit and read for a long time. Before, when I was a teenager, I was a avid reader. I read everything I could, and I liked big books because they took time. And I could sit 2, 3, 4 hours reading my book.
Mhm.
Today I'm old. I am not active like when I was a child, but I cannot sit 3, 4 hours anymore.
We don't have enough free time.
It's no, I have free time. I just, I've been sitting long enough. I need to walk or move or do something. I don't get it. I used to have the story and I would be inside the story.
Mhm.
Right? Like one of my favorite characters when I was a little girl was a girl, of course, because I was a girl. I'm going to find a picture because I know she was translated to Russian, but I don't know her name in Russian. This girl was my favorite character.
Кстати, длинный чулок.
Mhm,
She's from Finland, right?
mhm.
And she was translated into English and French and Russian
Mhm.
and I was her. When I was reading, I was her. I could lift a horse. It was wonderful. And today I find it more difficult to be the character.
Mhm.
Maybe that's why I loved reading so much, right? I read a lot. And it was because every book I was someone new. Sometimes I was a boy, sometimes I was a girl, sometimes I was a monkey. It was just great, you know? Did you have that with your books as children where it's like, I love this person because I am that person? Huh?
Mm. I'm reading books for my children. As fairy tale it is. Sometimes because my older daughter read
Oh yeah,
some
very cool.
herself, and she likes another story, short story. I like books of Henry. It's a very interesting book. I think it's rich moral
Mm-hmm.
because this short story is about simple people, but it's very natural and very famous in our days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very positive and vulnerable for children.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the stories we tell are definitely, the idea is to have the children become adults that are happy, adapted, resourceful, and of course you cannot be everything, but we try. We try.
Yes.
What about you, Elena? Did you have like one character that was like, this is me? Did you, Elena? Did you have a character that was like your favorite, or?
Mm, um, I don't remember my favorite character, but yes, I read a lot, and every summer I had a list of books
Yeah.
I had to read.
Yeah.
Yes, and I liked reading children detective stories.
Ah, yeah.
It was popular in that time, and it was fascinating for me.
Yeah, there was a time when there was a lot of like Nancy Drew.
Yes,
Yeah,
Nancy Drew.
She was pretty cool.
Yes, she was cool, and she found the secret and opened it.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
and yes, and later I found computer game, the series of computer games connected with Nancy Drew, and it was interesting.
Yeah. It's true that when video games became very popular, they started taking book characters and making video games. And I was already too old. I was already like, video games. And today, my grandchildren want to play with me, and I don't know how. I should have played when I could. But there was also these books where you finished the page, and at the end it said, if you go outside, go to page number 25. If you stay in the house, go to page number 200. And you could read your story like this. Did this exist for you?
I heard something about it, and I read only one book in that style. It was Guess play in the I don't know exactly. German Guess. He had this book, and you read it not in a direct way,
Yeah.
but you jump from one chapter to another, and if you read it in a direct way, you read another story with another sense.
Exactly. These books had more than one story. What they had was one story, like you say, if you read it in linear fashion, which means in a line, right? So that means just one after the other. Yeah, so if you read it in linear, you will have one story. But then if you decide to make different choices and jump, you will have a different story. So with the same book, you could read it 10 times, 20 times, and it was always a new story. All you had to do is make a different choice. All right. And I don't know why they don't exist anymore. I love those books. And I think children today would enjoy them too. Have you seen some books like that, Sasha?
Yes, I don't have enough free time for reading, unfortunately, but I like reading. And when I read, I can spend a lot of time for it, and especially in the night,
Yes.
it's very difficult after that.
Well, when I had young children, when my children were young, now they have their own home. They don't live with me. But when they were young, I wanted to read. They would go to bed and I would read after. But I was very tired because I would read and read. And then I would look, oh my God, I have to go to bed.
Yes.
The children will.
Mm,
So it was not always a good idea to do this.
yes.
But yeah, when we have children, young children, it's very hard to find time. Like even people who don't have children will find it difficult to find time because our lives are very busy. We work, we go here, we have our mates, right? Our partners, our boyfriends and our friends and our husbands and our wives and it's seen, and you know, I want to go here, I want to do this, so we have to stop
Yes,
to read.
Yeah.
we have priority.
Yeah, like you have to literally say, okay, enough, I stop 1 hour.
Yes.
And then you put your
Yes.
timer.
It's just difficult to concentrate on reading and sometimes on working because we have a lot of distractors, and I noticed I should concentrate and stay strong to continue to do something.
Mhm.
Yes, it demands more efforts than earlier.
Yes. And like just our discussion today, 1 hour and a half is a long time for you. For me, it's English. But 1 hour and a half in Russian, I am very tired because my brain is always translating. This is what is happening to you right now. You listen, you hear, so your brain, and you have to concentrate.
Yes.
And concentration for this long is very difficult. You know, maybe 5 minutes, your brain is not even listening. Your brain is saying, I need a break. And that's completely normal. I think it's if you can concentrate for that long, it is an amazing skill most people do not have.
Yes, it's like a habit, and we can develop this habit to concentrate.
Yes, intense, right? Intense concentration, right? So intense meaning very strong, right?
Mhm.
Oops,
Yes.
not strong with a G.
Strong.
Yes, because I clicked enter before I put the G, so that
I
was the
can
wrong.
concentrate for a long time, but I need stay long and without noise.
Mm.
And
In silence.
yes, and I need when I need to do something quickly, I concentrate for this thing.
Just a minute, I'm sorry, my brother, my brother's calling me. Okay. I don't know why. I'll call him back. I'll talk to him later. So you were saying that you can concentrate easily as long as you are in silence.
Yes, and when I need to do something quickly, I try to do it on time because I don't like let down my other people,
Okay, okay. So
especially for my work.
so you do not procrastinate, right?
Yes.
To procrastinate is to put to later, to do later what you can do now. Which a lot of people do.
Yes.
I do sometimes.
Yeah, I do sometimes, yes, but it's depends on situation and my priority.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it's it depends on serious situation, it's very
Mhm.
important for me to do on time.
Yeah.
But when I know that I don't need to do on time, I can
Yeah.
procrastinate. Yes.
I am like that with housework. Housework can always wait. I look at oh, I need to sweep the floor in 5 minutes. I don't like to I do housework, but I don't like it. So I always wait. What is it that you, yes, sometimes.
Need inspire sometimes maybe
Yeah, exactly.
inspiration.
Yeah,
Music,
when we have,
music
oh yeah,
sometimes it's very good things for inspire.
yes, it helps give rhythm.
Yes.
What do you procrastinate, Elena? Do you put things off?
Yes, quite often. Not always, of course, but quite often I procrastinate. Because I don't know, maybe I have a lot of things to do, and I can't start to do it. And sometimes, yes, like housework, I don't like doing it.
Yeah, I think we do housework because we have to do housework. I mean,
Yes, sometimes I feel more motivation, and I understand that it's a high time to clean my house.
and you know, when we start, it's not so bad.
Yes, and it takes sometimes 30 minutes,
Short
maybe
time.
1 hour. Yes, it's not so bad, but it's just difficult to begin it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It's difficult to get started, to
Get
begin.
started. Yes.
Oh. Yeah, I'm throwing out little idioms or slang sometimes, like to procrastinate is the right word, but people will often say, oh, I put it off. I put it off. I put it off.
Put it off.
Right. Now, if you learn the English and you learn put is to put, and then if, and then off, it makes no sense. Put it off. It's like,
What is it?
put off. Right. But when we put them together, it means, oh, I waited. I let it wait for me.
Mm.
And I'm going to try to do that to you a little bit here and there. And I will try to always put it in the chat so that you know. So one day you will be speaking to anyone, no problem. All right.
Thanks.
Canadians speak a lot of American English, but we write British English.
Mhm.
So we have British spelling and British use of English when we are writing. But when we are speaking, we have American use of English.
Mhm. Pronunciation.
Yeah, because we're really in between.
Mhm.
And Canada was a colony of England until 1982.
Mhm.
So I was born in the colony of Canada. And now it's not anymore. I'm older than my country. So many people. But yes. So this week, I'm going to post in the Speaking Club group a very short story just to get us started on talking about this and that and everything and nothing.
Okay.
Okay? So enjoy your week. Have a good rest. I hope you have at least 2 hours for reading this week.
Okay.
Indulge myself.
Exactly.
I try. Yes.
But what I will send you will not take 2 hours. It will be very, very short. I will make sure it is short. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
English
ladies.
books, the English books for practice.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So see you next week.
See
Thank
you.
you. Thank you for
Bye.
lesson.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Bye.